Welcome and welcome back. And we are moving into our final segment for today. And while it is a fun Friday and we want you to be excited about Carnival, we also want you to be safe. So we have with us representatives of BERT Belize to talk about some safety tips to keep in mind tomorrow. And on the set, we have Carla Flowers, Ronya Rodriguez, and Leon Seguro, all of BERT. Good morning and welcome.
Morning, thank you.
Well, busy.
We're always busy.
September is here upon us, and this is definitely one of the times where, it's the heightened when it comes to alcohol consumption, when it comes to tempers being flared up. Now, we're not looking forward to this, but it is the reality. It is the reality. Yes. Mm-hmm. And we know for a fact that you guys are extremely, you're working out there night and day to make sure that everybody is safe. Carnival safety tips. Where do we start?
Okay. First of all, the thing is that we can't stop people from not drinking. We can't stop people from not having great fun. So the thing is that when it comes to Carnival or September celebration in a whole, they need to be in mind that yes, you want to have good fun, but make sure you rehydrate yourself at any given time. So drink a lot of water. Adhere if you're on medication. Make sure no drinking.
So I imagine that's probably the number one thing you would see on Carnival Day: heat exhaustion and dehydration. Yeah. What's your advice to people? I like that you say drink a lot of water, but alcohol itself is part of what leads to dehydration. What's your advice to people as to how to have an enjoyable time but still keep safety in mind?
Well, if you drink the alcohol, at least try to rehydrate yourself with water on a constant basis. You can also try to find somewhere cool. So if you want to be out in the public at all, try to find somewhere cool so that you can have fun.
Yeah.
Is there, like, for instance, when it comes to the Carnival and a cool spot?
Yeah, that will be kind
very
of
difficult.
hard. If you can get an umbrella or something to that effect.
Well, let's get back to the alcohol consumption though, because a lot of folks will be drinking out there and they don't even think about the water aspect. They actually think more of an energy drink aspect, so they could eventually keep themselves with the crowd. How dangerous is this?
Yes, but drinking energy drink, that's a lot of sugar. And sugar follow water. So the more you sweat, especially those are participating in the alcohol, in the Carnival, they want to do that. So they're sweating and they get tired.
Yes.
And the thing is that drinking more alcohol on top of what they drink on the with the energy drink doesn't help. They will start to vomit first. Okay, that is a sign of overdose. Okay, and then some of them pass out. Okay, and that means that the brain already shut down. The brain cannot handle it anymore. So the thing is that if you're in the Carnival, if you're going to go out on the Carnival, first you make sure you have to eat.
Yes.
Okay, you have to eat. And if you're on medication, again, like I said, no drinking at all. Especially elderly patient who wants to enjoy and come out and see the thing. Make sure the family member, make sure that they bring a bottle of water for them, and bring an umbrella so that they can stay in the cool. And always hydrate themselves.
And those are actually two vulnerable groups when it comes to heat exposure. You're talking about elderly and young babies. Their bodies just can't process the heat the way another age group would be able to. So I really appreciate you pointing that out. The issue of recognizing signs of heat exposure, because it doesn't have to get to the point where you faint or pass out. What are some of the early signs that maybe you may be feeling that you could know, you know what, I need to find a cool spot, some shade, and some cold water to get?
With that, you'll find yourself getting tired, and you'll find yourself getting tired, but your heart rate will go up. And that's a sign right there that you need to calm down, take a break.
Yeah.
You get dizzy, you have severe headaches. Okay, and that's once you're having dizziness and headache, it's time that yes, you need to find the shade and sit down.
Yeah. And tips on how to cool yourself down properly?
Will be more in the shade, drink water,
Yeah.
pour a little bit of cool water, not the cold ice cold water, but cool water, the tap water. Throw a little bit on your face or over your head.
What are the challenges BERT goes through besides all the patients? Because I got to understand that last year was a record high when it comes to patients. For last year.
Primarily, what issues?
The same reason.
Well,
Dehydration, fainting, and accidents.
What
Yeah.
accidents. The challenge is getting them,
to the-
get to them and get them to the hospital. Those are some of our biggest challenges. With one, getting the proper information, because unfortunately when we get called, normally it comes through the police. If you could call BERT direct line, you would get a quicker access than going to the police, because you all know that on that day the police is extremely busy as well.
Yes.
So for minors, well, not minor, but for stuff like that that they might not see as a police action, it might delay our response because we haven't gotten the call. You think out there that you get the call, that BERT get the call while they're not there, but it has to go to the police, then the police go to us.
You guys,
and we have more information that we would want to get so we could get to you quicker than what you might give the police. So you find out, you call the police, then the police call us, and then we still end up calling you back in the middle of the carnival. You're not even hearing your phone
Hearing
ringing.
your phone
That's
because of the
So
music.
all that is an issue.
So that number is
223-3292.
223-3292. Here's what I tell people. Store it in your
Your
phone.
phone.
Correct.
In an
Yes.
emergency, you won't remember it, you won't have time to
Yep.
find it. You'll think 911, but then you go through dispatcher, police, and then back to BERT. Find the number, 223-3292.
223 BERT, right?
Store it in your phone, and when you have an emergency, you call directly to
Speed
the
dial number
BERT
one.
dispatcher.
Speed dial number
Speed dial
one.
number one, hole in number
You're
one
right.
button.
No,
Yeah.
it is true. It
So
is true.
now, while we've got the change of route for the carnival, do you guys anticipate that this would be better for the fact that we're able to get quicker to the hospital?
Well, that will be seeing is Belize, because if you look at the route, it still cuts the city in half. The carnival is so long that by the time the front is where it's at and the back is still there, it still cuts the city in half. So pretty much we have to cross the carnival.
Yeah.
We'll have to cross the carnival, and important that people give us as the ambulance that respect.
Yes.
And not only carnival time, but in general, it is important that people give the ambulance a respect, because unfortunately we don't get that respect. There is this misconception that if you see lights and siren, it's an emergency, so you have to move. And unfortunately, that's not it. Because there's patient that we can't use lights and siren because it's going to hurt them instead of help them. But it doesn't change the fact that we need to get to the hospital as fast as possible. You have a trauma patient that is bleeding out. Lights and siren is not going to change that patient's situation, so we use it and we get to the hospital as fast as possible. We have a patient that possible going into cardiac arrest. That patient needs to be as calm as possible. We put them in the ambulance and lights and siren and take off. We got a patient in cardiac arrest at that time.
Wow.
Okay.
But it doesn't
I
change
never
the
thought
that.
that.
Yeah.
So the
Excellent
respect
point.
for the ambulance needed no matter
Yeah.
what. You see the ambulance with or without light, you need to give it that
Just
respect.
give it way.
You have patient, an epileptic patient, the lights
Seizure.
is gonna let them relapse. So we can't even use the lights for certain patients. So people need to understand, it's not just lights and siren that makes it an emergency. It needs that respect at all times.
You know, I remember once being told you should always respect an ambulance because you don't even know if they're going to your home.
Oh, yeah.
Correct.
And that's one of the things that sticks with me all the time. You know, we're talking about, and I appreciate you bringing up the point that the carnival will still cross the entire country, which will bring some challenges for you still. Last year, which we said was a record year, I could only imagine the hassle of trying to get to KHMH, of trying to get to people. You know, thankfully, we have moved beyond that. But also, it must be hard to get to patients that are in the carnival.
Yeah.
What do you want to tell people that if I'm watching a dancer and she collapses in front of me, there's a whole crowd of people that you have to get through to get to them. What's your advice when somebody sees that happen?
Well, one of the things you would work is if that patient just collapsed, so it's obviously that there's no other injury besides the fact that heat exhaustion. So you'd want to pull that patient out to the nearest street outside of the carnival, and at the same time be
Somebody's
on your
calling,
phone
yeah.
giving us the information. Okay, it happened here. We're moving the patient there, so we could work towards that direction. And if just a heads up, the carnival cuts this way, so put them on the side where BERT is on.
Okay.
Okay.
You know, one of the things.
So that would be the right-hand side of the boulevard,
yeah, yeah.
and everything on the north side after the boulevard coming this way.
Okay, yes.
So you
yes,
would
I
not want to
understand.
take them
Easily
and put them on
accessible.
that
Yes,
side because we'll have to
yes,
go
easily
through the
accessible.
crowd,
Yeah.
get the patient, come back through the crowd,
I
and then
understand
to the
head
what
to.
you're
hospital.
saying, yeah.
One of the things we mentioned a while ago with the Carnival Association is actually the juve and the amount of time people. This is without rest. So this is without rest. This is very serious. But who the patients on Carnival Day? Do we see mostly revelers? Do we see mostly people that are in the carnival that you guys would have to attend to? And I'm asking this because we know for a fact that these people are out there.
It's not
It's
the
not
ones
the
that
people
are doing the
in
dance.
the- it's-
Onlookers
yeah.
are the ones.
Yeah.
Yes,
Most of the
mostly is onlookers. And again, with what you guys, that whenever they have an emergency, the crowd become very rowdy. They expect the ambulance supposed to reach there in the last quick second.
that way.
But the thing is that remember we're in a carnival and the ambulance cannot get into the crowd as it is. So like when Mr. Seguro said, if the patient collapses in front of you, get them as near as possible where the ambulance can get to you.
Yeah.
Put them in a shade and wait.
Yeah.
Okay, and that would be the best way.
Yeah.
Because the last year it was chaos when it comes to the ambulance. It was very chaos. There were stoning battles. Really, yes. Oh yeah,
At
they
the
were
ambulance.
almost attacking the
ambulance.
medics them too because they become very rowdy
And people are
again,
already drunk.
Yes, and intoxication is very involved in this, and
Yeah.
being tired and drinking makes it even more. The body can't absorb the alcohol quick enough, so and you're drinking more, so you become you're not thinking straight.
Oh.
Wow.
So we covered dehydration and heat exhaustion, alcohol consumption, and how that also makes the heat exhaustion worse. But we also have to talk about something that we do see quite a bit throughout this time of year in the celebration period, and that's road traffic accidents. And I know I hear the sighs, I am, but listen, I share the same sentiment. It is so tragic when people lose their lives in what could be, in most instances, a preventable situation. So please tell me your safety tips in terms of, one, preventing accidents, but two, surviving as well.
Okay. Well, to start, you want to be focused on safety. It's a fun time. Don't drink and drive. For the most people that are in the
Don't text
city,
and drive.
the Carnival route is in walking distance. Leave the car at home. For the people coming into the city, if you know you'll be driving, don't drink.
Yeah.
Don't drink.
How about
They have
designated
about
driver?
3 or 4
Yes.
different parades and stuff going on. So if it's a couple of you that travel on the road, you share share it. This week I'll come and drive. I won't drink. Next week someone else, make it a.
But a very good point that you made is actually because of how far you are from the carnival. It's best to walk there.
Correct.
Because what happens is actually a congestion
Of-
on the road. You need to
Of
get
traffic,
back home.
correct.
There is something there at home. Another thing that is out there to point out is the fact that drinking and driving, and then a lot of people riding behind a pickup truck, and that's crazy. What do we say to these people?
Okay, well, we could start off by saying that the more people you have in a vehicle, the more room for mistake, the more room
People
for
want to carry the
problem.
crowd.
Yes.
Yeah, but walk.
Yeah, walk.
Be safe. Actually, the back of a truck is not safe. It's not safe at all to be traveling in. And worse, with a whole bunch of people overexcited. I'm not even going to say drunk. Just overexcited, because you put a whole bunch of sensible, not drinking people in the back of a truck, give them 5 minutes, and you're going to have a level of excitement that you might think they're actually drinking. So that in itself is an issue.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
Yeah. So, and responding to an accident, and I know especially with dispatch, this is important. There are lots of details that people need to be able to let the BERT know as soon as possible. One, remember, call directly to BERT if you can. Store the number. If you can't, you will be able to reach them through police or 911.
Correct.
But it's much faster to speak with them directly, and you give the information directly to the source. So tell us, if there is a road traffic accident, the best tips that you can provide.
Well, if there's an accident on the road, the best thing you can do is call us directly, like we said. you give as much information as possible. The more information we receive, the better we can respond. That way we will know if it's more than 1 or 2 patients, we can dispatch more than 1 ambulance to the scene. For the patients, it's best that you don't try to move the patients. Just keep them as comfortable and calm as possible until the ambulance reach the scene. And please give the ambulance personnel space to work and just respect the patient's privacy.
Yeah.
All right.
Any other advice?
Well, she said it well. There is one little thing to that. Under one condition, you move a patient. If you're not a trained professional, under one condition, you move a patient. You get to a scene and you see that that patient is in immediate danger. You get there and the car is on fire after the accident, pull the patient out, life over limb. We could have probably saved the leg if we extract him properly, but if the car is going to burn,
Take him out.
the person out.
Save a life.
Besides that, leave them as is.
Can you just explain why? I mean, I think this is one of the things we see so often in Belize, and I know people have good hearts. They just want to get them out and feel it's one step eliminated, but they cause more injuries.
Okay, you have 2 things going on. One, they just want to help, and you kind of understand that, but at the same time, you could create more damage than good. A trauma patient, especially, a broken bone could be broken and it's fine, besides hurting. You move it, then it cuts an artery or a vein, and then you start the bone, and then the patient starts to bleed out. A patient with spinal injury, neck, C-spine injury, a patient may have survived that accident, and just proper care could save his life or cause him not to be paralyzed if you do it properly. If you don't, you've changed everything.
Yeah.
Everything. And so if you don't know, the best bet is leave it be.
Yeah.
All right.
Call, give all the information. The information is important.
Yeah.
You got a patient, it seems stuck in the car. That's important because then we know, don't just send the ambulance, send the fire service because they need to extricate the patient using their rescue method. So give the information. Getting your name and all the information does not put you liable for anything. That's the help that we want you to give.
Yeah.
Again, we want to stress on the fact that a lot of people will be out there consuming alcohol. This is a time of the year whereby we hang out with friends. How can a friend observe or look at another friend and say, you know what, yes, this individual is actually suffering from alcohol poisoning? What are the signs that this individual is actually suffering from alcohol poisoning?
Whenever the person start not being themselves, because you as a friend know your friend. So as soon as he's not talking with sense, you don't know something is wrong. And again, you can't stop people from not drinking, okay? But if he's drinking and he's the driver, don't let him drive, okay? And he will starting to have slur speech. He might start staggering, okay? And starting to have headaches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And at the point of vomiting, it's already too much alcohol in your system. That's what.
Or faint at the same time.
Okay, but some people might say, you know what? If I do throw up, it just simply means that I'm taking some out. I need to get some back in.
Yeah.
This is ridiculous.
No, that's overdose.
Yeah.
That's the body is telling you it's overdose already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The problem is you have your crowd, and there is nobody in there that is you don't want to say with a sane mind at the time because they're all doing the same thing and they're all almost at the same level. So that's where it gets really dangerous because it's like, oh, we're just having fun. Let him drink. Yeah. Let him drink. Give him some more because you have that material.
But they have to eat.
Yeah.
First, they have to eat. At any given time before they leave the house, they need to eat. Yeah. Okay. Eat mostly carbohydrate like bread. Yeah, like
eat bread from tonight.
Pretzel. Eat. Eat last night, eat tonight, eat this morning. They have to eat. Before they start to drink, they have to eat. And pace themselves while drinking. And in between, drink water. Same amount of alcohol you're taking, drink water.
Double up with water.
See,
Yeah.
and I think there are many different factors we don't think about. One, if you're out all night, you've already been drinking.
Yeah, your body already dehydrate. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you wake up early to do juve, which many people
Yes,
do,
they will do.
you'll have less sleep. And then
Body
you,
tired.
then you go out into midday sun, which means you probably missed lunch, and wait, and your body is already getting dehydrated. You add alcohol, which dehydrates
Your body's already
you.
dehydrated.
Yeah, and it is just, it's too much on the system for many people. So yes, maybe you could handle 3 beers on a regular day, but Carnival Day isn't a regular day.
No.
And I'm using 3 beers very loosely. I know it's a lot more. I know it's a lot more than that. I don't want to think of how
Yeah.
much for people, yeah?
All right.
You know, I want to say to you, okay,
I would say the thing is, what is it that you consider as fun? Just drinking, or getting the opportunity to enjoy the
Yeah.
whole season? Create that balance. I want to be there. I want to have fun.
Very good
so
advice.
I'll drink a little bit if that's the case, but keep a balance and you'll be able to be there the whole
The
time.
whole
Then
time, yeah.
you drink
I'll be
half
awake.
day, and then when you wake up, but why am I in the hospital?
Yeah.
you
You
didn't
don't
create a
remember
balance.
nothing.
You have to create a balance.
Create a balance.
Everything's
Have
a
some
balance.
fun and don't
and,
just.
and passing out isn't the worst that can happen. You can pass
No.
out, hit your head,
Head.
get
Yeah,
knocked
and
out.
go in
And
the
you
coma.
Happens a lot around
Yeah.
this time.
Pass out while you're driving and have your passengers at risk or other people who are perfectly
Yes, but
sober at risk.
You can be dehydrated or in a heat exhaustion, and if you keep drinking alcohol and not drinking any water, you can go in a heat stroke. And heat stroke, then the brain is get hot. You die. You go in a coma and then you die. So
The
you
bottom
have
line
to
is
drink water.
You could die from drug overdose.
Yes, you can die,
alcohol
yeah.
overdose.
Alcohol.
You could
Alcohol
die. So
poisoning.
don't take it like
Yeah.
you can die.
All right, and I know you all have a very hectic day tomorrow. What do you have full staff on
Yes.
working tomorrow?
Yes.
Okay, good. Best of luck. We really appreciate what you do, even though you aren't always in the forefront. And we appreciate you taking the time to come in to kind of prevent some of the things that you typically see on a day like Carnival Day. All right?
All
Thank
right.
you. Anything else? Any final tips to share?
When you see the
Covered it
ambulance,
all?
When you see the
I would
ambulance.
say, like I always do, party like a rock star, but rehydrate yourself.
All right. And that number, once again, we're encouraging you to store it in your phone, 223-3292. Call them directly. You'll have a lovely dispatcher to be able to assist you through what is a very traumatic time for you. So do ensure that you call BERT and you can be able to pass on all the information that is necessary.
All right.
Thank you once again. We're going to go ahead and take our final break. And when we come back, we'll have our wrap-up. So stay tuned.